What if I told you that some of R&B's biggest stars, who once dominated the charts and won over millions of fans, ended up facing the tough reality of homelessness? From Dawn Robinson living in her car for years to Braxton facing bankruptcy and losing her home, these artists went through the highs and lows of fame in ways most people can't imagine. Here are 16 stories of stars who became homeless. Dawn Robinson. Dawn Robinson is best known as one of the original members of En Vogue, one of the top-selling girl groups in the world. Her powerful voice and strong stage presence helped make the group famous starting in 1989, with hit songs like Hold On, My Lovin', You're Never Gonna Get It, and Don't Let Go, Love. Dawn's influence in music is clear from the many awards she's received, including 2 American Music Awards, a Billboard Music Award, 7 MTV Video Music Awards, 4 Soul Train Music Awards, and 8 Grammy nominations. Altogether, through her work with En Vogue, Lucy Pearl, and her solo projects, she has helped sell more than 11 million records around the world. But her journey in music hasn't always been smooth. In 1997, she left En Vogue because of disagreements over her contract. After that, she joined the group Lucy Pearl, whose first album became a big hit with popular songs like Dance Tonight and Don't Mess With My Man. Later, she launched her solo career and released an album called Dawn in 2002. She also reunited with En Vogue for short tours in 2005 and 2009. Still, her time with the group was marked by repeated departures, which she says were due to poor management and unfair pay. More recently, Dawn opened up about a personal struggle with homelessness. In a video on her YouTube channel, she shared that she had been living in her car for almost 3 years. This happened after she moved in with her parents in Las Vegas in 2020. But rising tensions, especially with her mother, led her to leave. She later stayed briefly with her manager, but that didn't work out either, and she was left without a stable place to live. Despite everything, Dawn described the experience as one that gave her a new sense of freedom and strength. Charlie Wilson. As the lead singer of the Gap Band, Wilson helped shape the sound of funk and R&B in the 1970s and 1980s with hits like Outstanding and You Dropped a Bomb on Me. The group's success brought him Grammy nominations, top spots on music charts, and a reputation as one of the most important voices in the genre. But behind the scenes, Wilson's life was falling apart. Everything changed in 1986 when the band's manager wanted to change the way they shared their music rights. Wilson refused, and after that, he and his brothers were pushed out of the music industry. Work and money quickly dried up. I couldn't bounce back. Everywhere we went, he blocked us. He threatened people. It was a sad time. Substances showed up more often. My brothers and I weren't getting along, Wilson said. The mix of money problems, family tension, and frustration pulled him deeper into substance addiction. By the early 1990s, Wilson's addiction had taken over his life. From 1993 to 1995, he was homeless, sleeping in alleys and under trucks on Hollywood Boulevard. He used cardboard as a bed and a brick as a pillow, depending on other homeless people to share food and shelter. Even though he was famous, Wilson tried to stay hidden, making up stories if someone recognized him and staying away from shelters because he felt ashamed. It was terrifying. When the sun came up, I ran like Dracula. I tried so hard to hide, he said. Wilson's faith, passed down from his father, who was a pastor, helped him during his darkest times. He prayed every day to be free from addiction. His prayers were answered when a cousin, who had also been in recovery, found him on the street and talked him into going to rehab. But even in rehab, Wilson struggled. He kept secretly using substances until a meeting with a social worker named Maheen changed everything. She asked what he planned to do after rehab, and Wilson broke down, realizing he had no plan and nowhere to go. Maheen promised to help him find a place to live, and with her support and his cousin's encouragement, he began his journey to recovery. Wilson's comeback is just as powerful as his music. He restarted his career with solo albums, hit songs like There Goes My Baby, and worked with big artists, winning over new fans and critics alike. He also survived prostate cancer, adding another chapter to his story of strength and hope. Now, Wilson talks openly about his past struggles with addiction and homelessness, using his story to help others. "I didn't know I was inspiring people. When I found out I was, I felt I had to share this story of healing," he said. Shanice had her big break in 1991 when she released the song "I Love Your Smile." It quickly became a hit, reaching #1 on the Billboard R&B chart and #2 on the pop chart. The song's catchy tune and Shanice's bright, joyful voice made it popular around the world. It made it into the top 10 in 22 countries and brought her a Grammy nomination, Germany's Golden Lion Award, and fans from all over. She went on to show her talent in other songs like "Silent Prayer," "Saving Forever for You," and "When I Close My Eyes," which made a huge leap on the Billboard chart and reached #12 in 1999. Over the years, Shanice received several honors, including Grammy nominations and Billboard Music Awards. She was praised for her 5-octave vocal range and her rare ability to sing in the whistle register. She also made history as the first African American to play Eponine in the Broadway show Les Miserables, showing just how talented and respected she is. Shanice worked with famous artists like Kenny Loggins, Babyface, and John Cicada, and even sang a duet with Justin Timberlake, proving she could adapt and shine in many styles. She also sang on movie and TV soundtracks, including Disney's Pocahontas and the show Beverly Hills 90210, which helped her grow as a well-rounded artist. Even with all her success, Shanice faced tough times. She and her family went through serious money problems and ended up homeless for a while. This happened after years of struggles in the music industry and poor financial planning, despite her earlier chart-topping hits. Shanice and her husband, actor Flex Alexander, shared their story on the reality show Flex and Shanice, where they talked about living with extended family in a small house after losing their own. The experience was difficult but eye-opening. Through it all, Shanice kept working, performing, and taking care of her family, showing strength, hope, and true substance. Toni Braxton. Toni Braxton is known as one of the most respected R&B singers of her time. Her career has been full of major success, but also some well-known financial struggles. She became famous in the early 1990s when her first album sold over 10 million copies around the world. She won several Grammy Awards for it, including Best New Artist and Best Female R&B Vocal Performance for her song Another Sad Love Song. Her next album, Secrets, made her an even bigger star. The hit song Unbreak My Heart stayed at #1 on the Billboard Hot 100 for 11 weeks and earned her another Grammy. Over the years, Braxton has won 7 Grammys, 9 Billboard Music Awards, 7 American Music Awards, and many other honors, including a spot in the Georgia Music Hall of Fame and the Soul Train Legend Award. Even though she had best-selling albums and sold-out concerts, Braxton faced serious money problems. Her first bankruptcy happened in 1998, right when she was at the top of her career. She said her record label deal gave her very little money from her big sales. At the same time, she spent a lot and had to deal with high legal and management costs. This led her to file for bankruptcy. She had to sell many of her personal items and didn't have a steady place to live for a while, staying with friends or in temporary housing. In 2010, Braxton filed for bankruptcy again, saying she owed between $10 million and $50 million. This time, health issues were a major reason. She had to cancel her Las Vegas shows after being diagnosed with lupus and a heart condition, which stopped her from performing and earning money. Because of this, plus ongoing medical bills and other debts, she lost more assets and went through another hard time financially. Despite all of this, Braxton kept moving forward. She continued to make music, perform, and grow as an artist. She received praise for her later albums and was honored with awards like the 2025 Lifetime Achievement Award at the 365 Black Awards. Macy Gray. Macy Gray made a big impact when she released her first album on How Life Is in 1999. People were instantly drawn to her unique, raspy voice and the way she mixed different music styles. Her hit song, I Try, became popular all over the world, making it into the top 10 in many countries. It won her a Grammy in 2001 for Best Female Pop Vocal Performance, and she was also nominated for Record of the Year and Song of the Year. The album sold over 7 million copies worldwide and made her a major name in soul and R&B music. Gray has been honored in many ways throughout her career. She's been nominated for 5 Grammy Awards and won one. She's also been recognized by the MTV Video Music Awards, Billboard Music Awards, Brit Awards, American Music Awards, and the NAACP Image Awards. Besides singing, she has acted in movies like Training Day and Spider-Man, and has been on TV as well. Her wide range of talents has helped her connect with even more people. Over the years, she has kept releasing new albums, always trying new sounds, from creative soul to retro disco and hip-hop. Even though she became successful, Gray's path wasn't easy. Before her big break, she went through tough times, including money problems and even being homeless for a while. She has talked about living in Los Angeles, doing different jobs, and raising her kids on her own while trying to make it in music. During that time, she didn't have a steady place to live, staying with friends or in temporary housing. These struggles shaped her music, filling it with messages about never giving up, loving yourself, and overcoming hard times. Gray's strength and honesty have inspired many up-and-coming artists. She's also used her fame to help others, especially young musicians, through her M. Gray Music Academy, and she supports different social causes. Eddie Johns. Eddie Johns had a short but important career in the late 1970s and early 1980s, releasing 2 albums, More Spell on You and Paris Metro, while living in Paris. His 1979 disco song, More Spell on You, was special for its lively brass music and soulful singing, capturing the lively energy of the Paris music scene at the time. Years later, John's music unexpectedly became famous again when the French electronic duo Daft Punk used a sample from More Spell on You in their 2001 hit, One More Time. The song became a worldwide sensation, topping charts, selling millions, and getting praised, even being ranked number 5 on Pitchfork's Top 500 Songs of the 2000s. It also helped Daft Punk's Discovery album go multi-platinum. However, Johns never received any royalties or recognition for the sample. Daft Punk paid royalties to GM Musipro, the French publishing company that owns the rights to More Spell on You, but Johns never saw any of the money, which was estimated to be worth a lot, because the company said they couldn't find him. While Daft Punk went on to win Grammys and gain worldwide fame, Johns struggled in Los Angeles. After having a stroke that left him unable to work, he became homeless and lived in shelters or on the streets for more than 10 years. The contrast between his influence on one of the biggest dance hits of the 21st century and his personal struggles was striking. People only started paying more attention to his situation after news reports in 2021, which led to more people questioning why he hadn't been paid or recognized. Sly Stone. Sly Stone is an iconic figure in American music, known for his groundbreaking work as the leader and creative force behind Sly and the Family Stone. The group mixed funk, soul, rock, and psychedelic music in the late 1960s and 1970s, creating timeless hits like Everyday People, Dance to the Music, and Family Affair. Their music changed popular music and influenced many artists in different genres. Stone's songwriting and producing skills helped the band achieve both commercial and critical success, with multiple gold albums and several #1 singles on pop and R&B charts. The honors Sly Stone has received show his major impact. In 1993, he was inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame as a member of Sly and the Family Stone, cementing his place as one of music's greatest artists. His contributions were also recognized in 2017 with a Grammy Lifetime Achievement Award. which is given to artists whose work has made a lasting impact on music. But despite all of his success, Stone's life took a turn for the worse in later years. After his career peaked, poor financial management, legal troubles, and struggles with substance abuse caused him to lose his fortune. Reports in the 2000s and 2010s revealed that Sly Stone became homeless, living in a small camper van in Los Angeles. He survived on Social Security checks and the help of friends, a big change from his earlier fame and wealth. His financial troubles were made worse by fights over royalties and the rights to his music, leaving him without the steady income that his famous songs should have brought him. Marianne Faithfull. Faithfull became famous in the 1960s with her UK top 5 single, As Tears Go By, and quickly became a key figure in the British invasion, inspiring the creative minds of the time. However, despite her early success, her career was soon overshadowed by personal struggles. The 1970s were particularly difficult as she battled anorexia, substance addiction, and even homelessness. During this time, she lived on the streets of London, a sharp contrast to her earlier celebrity. She has openly shared stories of sleeping on friends' floors and in squats, while her health declined due to addiction and poverty. These hardships changed her voice, turning it from the clear, melodic sound of her youth to a raw, raspy tone that later became her trademark and was praised for its emotional depth. Despite these challenges, Faithfull made an inspiring comeback with her 1979 album, Broken English, which became both a commercial success and a critical hit. Often seen as her best work, the album earned her a Grammy nomination for Best Female Rock Vocal Performance and marked her return as a strong force in music. She continued to release well-regarded albums like Dangerous Acquaintances, A Child's Adventure, and Strange Weather, and wrote several autobiographies that told the story of her rise to fame, struggles with addiction, and recovery. Faithfull's contributions to music have been widely recognized. She was ranked 25th on VH1's 100 Greatest Women of Rock and Roll, received the World Lifetime Achievement Award at the 2009 Women's World Awards, and was named a Commandeur of the Ordre des Arts et des Lettres by the French government in 2011. In 2023, Rolling Stone included her in their list of the 200 greatest singers of all time, highlighting her lasting influence. Dennis Wilson. Dennis Wilson was the only true surfer in the Wilson family and embodied the California lifestyle that became part of the Beach Boys' early hits like Surfer Girl, Fun, 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 and I Get Around. Though he was often overshadowed by his brother Brian's larger musical presence, Dennis made important contributions to the band's catalog, including songs like Little Bird, Forever, and Cuddle Up. His raspy, emotional voice became a more noticeable feature in the Beach Boys' music from the late 1960s onwards. Dennis also made a name for himself outside the Beach Boys with his 1977 solo album, Pacific Ocean Blue. The album received critical praise for its reflective songwriting and rich production, and it's now considered a classic. It reached number 96 on the U.S. Billboard 200 and is recognized as one of the best solo albums by any member of the Beach Boys. However, Dennis's personal life was filled with hardship and tragedy. He struggled with addiction, which damaged his relationships with family and bandmates and led to erratic behavior. By the early 1980s, these struggles had taken a serious toll on his finances and well-being. After years of substance abuse and failed marriages, Dennis became increasingly isolated and penniless. In his final years, he faced periods of homelessness, often living out of his car or staying with friends or in motels when he could afford it. His net worth had dropped to about $10,000 by the time of his death, a far cry from the wealth and fame he once had. Dennis's decline was made worse by legal and financial problems, as well as the emotional pain from his difficult relationships and the pressures of fame. His life came to a tragic end when he drowned in 1983 at the age of 39, marking the sad conclusion to a life that had been both creatively rich and deeply troubled. If you are enjoying this video, appreciate it by giving it a thumbs up. And if you have not subscribed, what are you waiting for? hit that subscribe button. Bob Mosley. Mosley made important contributions to music. He wrote and sang on some of the group's most memorable songs, like Mr. Blues, Come in the Morning, and Lazy Me, from their highly praised 1967 debut album, which is often considered one of the best rock albums ever. Moby Grape's mix of rock, folk, blues, and country, along with their team approach to writing and singing, helped define the psychedelic era and earned the band lasting respect. Mosley's talents went beyond the band. He released a well-received solo album in 1972 and worked with artists like Chris Darrow and Neil Young, showing his range. However, Mosley's career was greatly affected by mental health issues. He was diagnosed with paranoid schizophrenia during his short time in the Marines in 1968, and the illness stayed with him for many years. His condition, along with the band's difficult breakup and long legal battles over their name and royalties, caused periods of instability and hardship. After Moby Grape broke up and they lost control of their music, Mosley's life started to fall apart. He became homeless and sometimes lived in a cardboard box or on the side of a freeway in San Diego, forming a kind of community with friends, the squirrels, and the lizards. Bandmate Peter Lewis found Mosley in these tough conditions and brought him a guitar and tapes, hoping to help him get back on his feet. However, the effects of schizophrenia made it hard for him to fully recover. Despite these challenges, Mosley's determination and the support of his bandmates led to several efforts to help him. In 1996, after a court ruling gave the Moby Grape name back to the band, Lewis found Mosley living homeless and encouraged him to come back, hoping to help him both emotionally and financially. Although the reunion was difficult, Mosley's paranoia sometimes caused problems within the band. He kept writing, recording, and performing, even releasing solo work as recently as 2024. Jaco Pastorius. Jaco Pastorius's rapid rise began in the mid-1970s when he released his debut album Jaco Pastorius in 1976. It astonished the music world with his incredible skill and fresh ideas. Songs like Donna Lee and Portrait of Tracy showed how fast he could play, how catchy his melodies were, and how naturally he mixed jazz, funk, and classical styles to set a new bar for the bass. His career really took off when he joined Weather Report in 1976. He quickly became a core part of their sound and helped make albums like Black Market and Heavy Weather into huge successes. Heavy Weather, which featured the hit Birdland, sold millions of copies and was even up for a Grammy. He also worked with stars such as Joni Mitchell, Pat Metheny, and Herbie Hancock, and led his own big band project called Word of Mouth. His influence went well beyond jazz, inspiring bass players in rock, metal, and many other genres. Despite these amazing achievements, Jaco's personal life was full of challenges. He struggled with bipolar disorder and began abusing substances while he was with Weather Report. That led to unpredictable behavior and put a strain on his relationships with the other band members. By the early 1980s, these issues were holding his career back. He left Weather Report in 1982 after growing disagreements with bandleader Joe Zawinul over the music they played and their touring plans. As his mental health worsened, Jaco found it harder to keep steady work or steady relationships. He became unstable and often homeless, spending time living on the streets or in parks in Florida during his final years. Where he once played to cheering crowds, he now struggled with poverty and the effects of untreated illness. His tragic end came in 1987 when he died at 35 after a violent altercation outside a nightclub. David Crosby. As one of the founding members of the Byrds, Crosby played a key role in blending folk and rock and in the rise of psychedelic music during the 1960s. He helped create hits like Mr. Tambourine Man and Turn, Turn, Turn. His smooth harmony singing, thoughtful songs, and steady rhythm guitar defined the Byrds' sound, and their first albums were so powerful that people saw them as real rivals to the Beatles. After growing tensions led to his exit from the Byrds in 1968, Crosby helped start Crosby, Stills and Nash. When Neil Young joined, they became Crosby, Stills, Nash, and Young, and they quickly became pillars of American rock. Their first album won the Grammy for Best New Artist in 1969, and songs such as Sweet, Judy Blue Eyes, and Wooden Ships became anthems for a whole generation. Crosby's recognitions are impressive. He was inducted twice into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, once with the Byrds and once with Crosby, Stills and Nash. He played on 5 albums that made Rolling Stone's list of the 500 greatest albums of all time, and his work with the Byrds and CSNY has sold more than 35 million copies. On his own, he released 8 solo albums, including the highly praised If I Could Only Remember My Name in 1971, and he worked alongside artists like Joni Mitchell, Jefferson Airplane, and Elton John. He even explored jazz with the trio CPR and kept making music until the end of his life. Despite his success, Crosby's private life was often rocky, marked by substance abuse, brushes with the law, and serious health scares. His battles with substance and legal problems repeatedly disrupted his career, and by the 1980s, he found himself drained both financially and emotionally. At one low point, he was homeless, living in his car and facing extreme uncertainty. He later called this period a vagabond existence, struggling to get by after his early fame faded and before he found solid ground again with Crosby, Stills, and Nash. Behind these hardships were jail stays and long fights against addiction, struggles he eventually overcame to enjoy a late burst of creative energy. DMX. DMX's first album, It's Dark and Hell is Hot, was a huge success when it came out in 1998. It went straight to number 1 on the Billboard 200 and sold more than 251,000 copies in its first week. He made history by becoming the first artist whose first 5 albums all started at number 1 on the chart, proving how much he ruled rap at his peak. By the time he passed away in 2021, he had sold over 75 million records around the world. His list of awards shows just how big his impact was. In 2000, he won the American Music Award for Favorite Rap and Hip Hop Artist. The year before, Billboard named him Top R and B Album Artist of the Year. He earned 6 Grammy nominations, including Best Rap Album and Best Rap Solo Performance for songs like Party Up, Up in Here, and Who We Are. He was also up for many MTV Video Music Awards and won the Soul Train Sammy Davis Jr. Award for Entertainer of the Year. Beyond music, he found success as an actor in films such as Belly and Romeo Must Die. Even with all that success, DMX's life was full of deep challenges. He struggled with substance addiction and faced legal trouble that led to time behind bars and financial hardship. Those problems sometimes left him homeless, even after he became famous. He spoke openly about living in group homes and on the streets when he was young, experiences that gave his music its raw truth. Later in life, his battles with addiction and the law often meant he had no steady home and had to rely on friends or short-term place to stay during his toughest times. Jewel. Jewel grew up in the remote wilderness near Homer, Alaska. Her early life was full of challenges and required a lot of creativity to make ends meet. Her parents, both musicians, got divorced when she was 8. She lived with her father in a house that didn't have indoor plumbing and helped support the family by performing in local bars. This unusual upbringing gave her a strong sense of independence and a deep love for music. At the age of 15, Jewel got a partial scholarship to the Interlochen Arts Academy in Michigan. There, she studied opera singing and guitar, combining classical training with her folk music background. After finishing school, she moved to San Diego and started performing in coffee houses and clubs, slowly gaining a loyal following. Despite her talent and hard work, Jewel faced many struggles in her early years in California. She openly talked about becoming homeless when she was 18 after she lost her job because she turned down her manager's inappropriate advances. Unable to pay rent, she lived in her car while still writing songs and performing wherever she could. This difficult time shaped her music adding themes of survival, hope, and authenticity to her songs. Jewel's big break came with her first album, Pieces of You, released in 1995. The album, with hits like Who Will Save Your Soul, You Were Meant for Me, and Foolish Games, became one of the best-selling debut albums ever. It went 12 times platinum and earned her an American Music Award for Favorite New Artist. The album's honest lyrics and acoustic style resonated with many people, helping Jewel become a star. She was quickly recognized as one of the best singer-songwriters of her generation, often compared to Joni Mitchell, and appeared on the covers of major magazines. Over the next 30 years, Jewel continued to grow as an artist, exploring different music styles from folk to pop, country, and dance. Albums like Spirit, 1998, This Way, 2001, and 304, 2003, showed her range, with Spirit featuring the popular song Hands and 0304 marking her move into dance pop. Her 2008 country album, Perfectly Clear, debuted at #1 on Billboard's Top Country Albums chart, solidifying her place as a versatile artist. Jewel has received 4 Grammy nominations, sold over 30 million albums worldwide, and earned many other awards, including a New York Times best-selling poetry book and an Emmy nomination for acting. Jewel's past struggles with homelessness and hardship have inspired her to give back through her charity work. She founded the Inspiring Children Foundation, which helps at-risk youth and promotes mental health. Her advocacy shows up in her music too, like in the song No More Tears, which she wrote for a documentary about youth homelessness, drawing from her own experiences. Kem. Before becoming famous, Kem went through difficult times, including periods of homelessness and struggling with substance abuse. He has openly talked about this part of his life, explaining how addiction and instability left him without a home or clear path. Music became his saving grace. During his toughest moments, he found comfort in writing songs and performing, which helped him slowly get his life back on track. Kem credits his recovery and success to the healing power of music and the support he received from rehab programs. Kem's big break came when he released his first album, Chemistry, which received great reviews and led to a deal with Motown Records. The album's hit single, Love Calls, made him a new star in R&B. His second album, Kem Album 2, was certified gold and later went platinum, driven by the #1 hit, I Can't Stop Loving You, which was named Billboard's Top Adult R&B Single of the Year in 2005. Following that success, his third album, Intimacy, Album 3, debuted at #2 on the Billboard Top 200 and produced several hit singles, including Why Would You Stay, earning Kem 2 Grammy nominations in 2011. Over the years, Kem has received many awards, including multiple Grammy nominations, a Billboard Music Award for Top Adult R&B Single of the Year, Gold and Platinum Album certifications, and the title of Mediabase's 2015 Urban Adult Contemporary Artist of the Year. His music, often compared to legends like Sam Cooke and Marvin Gaye, is known for its emotional storytelling and messages of hope and love.